Hey everybody, today I wanted to tell you more about Abby's story and how she hit her head and got a concussion and the process that she's gone through, or the journey since that time, which has been 3.5 years ago. So I'll just recap quickly what happened. When Abby was 17, she went to school for her birthday. She was sitting with a bunch of girlfriends on the ground under a concrete platform. One of her friends gave her a bouquet of flowers and said, "Stand up, Abby, and we'll take your photo." Abby jumped up with excitement, jumping up, forgetting that the concrete platform wasn't full height and that Abby is 5'11". So she hit her head on the concrete platform as she went up. She collapsed down into a squat really quickly, so her brain bounced up and down a couple of times, and then she felt really ill. She excused herself from her friends and went to the bathroom where she was feeling quite sick. After sitting there quietly for 10 minutes, she went to class, and then she went on to sit a bio test in class, which she only just passed, but she said she felt awful. She could hardly concentrate on the reading and writing and felt really nauseous. She then came home from school later that afternoon, and we were supposed to have a family dinner and a bit of a celebration for her birthday, but she didn't want to do any of that. She went to bed, said she didn't feel well, she wasn't hungry, and she didn't want to party. So in retrospect, that of course is really worrying. Had we realised how serious it was, we would have monitored her, because with a concussion you do not want to leave someone to go to sleep, particularly unsupervised, in case they become unconscious or have a brain bleed or any of those other things that can happen. So the next day Abby woke up, was still feeling really bad, but we had to all pack up and get into the car, because we were driving down to a beachside resort to have our wedding. So Ian and I got married after our children, which was a little bit unusual, but we got there eventually. So we went down there. We had 3 days with friends and family. We had a lovely time in the sense of catching up with everybody. But Abby was not herself. She was tired, she was grumpy. Lots of her old friends were there who we were expecting her to socialise with, and she just didn't want to. She laid on the bed a lot, she slept, she didn't really join in much at all. I remember through the practice ceremony with her beside me, and she looked so grim-faced and grumpy. I said, "Come on, Abs, cheer up, for heaven's sake, put a smile on your face." And I feel really bad about that now, because of course at the time I didn't realise that she was really unwell. After 3 days we came back to Auckland, and she was supposed to go back to school, but that was obviously not possible. We then had to get medical help, and things unfolded to show that she had a bad concussion and needed help. We were able to get help through our New Zealand government program, Accident Compensation Corporation, ACC, who provides free medical care for people who have had accidents. So we were allocated a concussion manager, a lady called Penny from a concussion clinic in Auckland, and then she coordinated all of the other care that Abby needed. She had a physiotherapist initially because she had issues with balance. She had a neurologist, a psychologist, and just lots of wraparound help to help her to get well. Those first few months were very, very hard. She spent a lot of time on her bed. She was very tired, had a lot of headaches, had sleep disturbance at night, which is typical of concussion. Her balance was not good. She couldn't walk down the hallway to the bathroom without holding onto the walls as she went. With rest and therapy, she was starting to improve gradually, but the accident had happened in October, and she couldn't go back to school that year to sit her exams at all. So she got assessed marks to get through her second to last year of high school, and then we had a summer holidays of 3 months where we had hoped she would rest and then go back to school for her final year of high school. When we got to the beginning of February, when high school started, she did try going back briefly for a couple of hours each day, and she just wasn't coping. So we had to pull her out of school completely, and that meant that she missed her whole last year of high school, which she found very upsetting. So she didn't go to any of the fun events or the ball or any of the silly things that happen and very social things that happen in the last year of high school. She kind of lost track of her friends, and sadly that's something that apparently happens a lot with long-term injuries, particularly in teenagers. Teenagers, by all accounts, have quite a short-term memory, and if you're not there with them, they tend not to socialise with you, which is sad. So she stayed at home. We initially tried to get her to keep up with her schooling through what's called health school in New Zealand. So health school is a system where there is a regional school in I think 3 or 4 areas in New Zealand where children who are sick or ill or injured or have cancer, who can't go to their local school physically, are able to go to health school and have one-on-one tutoring or be in very small classes of 3 or 4 children. Abby tried that, but it was still not easy because she had to be sent in a taxi to get there, and that was tiring for her. And then just being in a classroom and concentrating, and with background noise with other kids in the area, in the surrounding rooms, she found difficult as well. She kind of limped through that year with her schooling, managed to get some credits with not great marks, which she found upsetting because she usually gets very high grades. When she got to the end of the year, she didn't have enough credits to get into university for the following year. So that summer, she did some more courses by our National Correspondence School, which is in Wellington, our capital. But it's for children who are living remotely from any school, typically on farms, and they can't go to school. So she did some extra credits there, managed to just get enough to get into university or college, as you may call it, and started that in the following year. That year was not easy. She was not capable of studying full-time, so she did each semester 2 out of the possible 4 papers that are full-time, and even with just 2 papers she was struggling. She was very tired. It took her a long time to study things. She had to do them in very short bursts, and she found it was very hard to remember things for exams. Luckily, she already had some special conditions for exams with extra time, and on top of that, she was able to get exams that were scheduled in the afternoon, which is really hard for a concussed person to concentrate in, shifted to the morning. So the university was very helpful. Something that I haven't explained in relation to those special conditions is that Abby has a couple of underlying conditions which makes healing from concussion more difficult. There's a bunch of things that if you already have those conditions, it will take you longer to recover from a concussion. So with Abby, she had dyslexia already and anxiety. Now those things make your brain already work overtime. So the brain's very, very busy, already burning a lot of energy, and you lay a concussion over that, and the brain's really struggling to take care of the repair work to get you back to normal quickly. So they were hindering her recovery as well. So Abby got through that year of university and she did well. She got pretty high grades, even though it was very difficult and she had to put a lot of effort in. The following year, Abby was planning to go back to university, and she went back briefly, but then decided that it was very difficult and she wasn't enjoying it. So she decided to take a year off. And after a couple of months found a very cool job by fluke with our family chiropractor, and she was able to work there part-time for 30 hours a week for 4 days a week, and that was beautiful. It's a place where she was very happy. She has known the chiropractor since she was 12, and it meant that it was a great way to ease back into an activity and build up her mental strength, if you like, with the concussion, and her confidence. And that went really well. So for all of last year, she was working at the chiropractor and gradually getting better. Rolling on to this year, she was back at university doing her business degree. Again, not quite full time. So instead of 4 papers, she's doing 3 papers every semester, and she was doing that until we hit lockdown for COVID. So where are we now, 3.5 years on? How is she doing? She's an awful lot better. So in terms of, if you look back in time, she's come a very long way. It's been a very slow and gradual climb, but she has improved a lot. The things that linger She typically gets quite tired in the afternoons after about 3 or 4 o'clock and will often have a rest on her bed. She still finds it difficult to concentrate for long periods and has to break things up into small pieces. And she's just, how would I best describe it? She hasn't got as much energy, I would say, as she did do previously. Now, we've been told that she should continue to improve, and I hope that's the case. Apparently, because her brain is still young, and I believe brains don't mature till they're 25. And if she keeps, taking things gently and allowing her brain time to rest, particularly with good sleep at night, then we should see some more improvements. So I guess the message from that I would take is, when you're at the beginning and it's really, really difficult and you're suffering from tiredness, lethargy, headaches, depression, lack of sleep, and all of those symptoms that can go with a concussion, if that's where you are or your loved one is at, please take heart, because it will improve. Now, typically, most concussions improve in a few weeks or 3 or 4 months, and it's unusual for them to keep going. So please, again, take heart from the fact that you should see good improvement in a fairly rapid time. In later videos, we're going to talk about how best to help yourself improve. But for now, we'll wrap it up, and I will talk to you again soon about my experiences with concussion as an older person. I say older, I'm not that old, I'm 55. And we'll wrap it up for now, and then in my next video for you, I will talk about my experience with concussion as a slightly older person. Not that I'm old, I'm only 56, but I am, 30 years on or so from where Abby was when she had her concussion. And that in itself can cause some issues, which I'll talk about soon. Anyway, for now, take care, stay strong, and we'll speak soon. Bye.